Hey everyone, Instructor Brooks here, and in this video and part of our Learning Misconceptions series, I'm going to talk to you about the illusion of multitasking and why it is a task destroyer. So, if you're ready to learn something, let's go. So this video is number 4 in our series on learning misconceptions, and today we're going to talk about the illusion of multitasking. So what is multitasking? Well, this occurs when someone is multitasking and it makes them feel like a productive superstar. I know myself, I fall victim to this, and a lot of people do. In fact, my program director does. She's working on it, but she was talking to me about how, she feels productive when she has a lot of things to do. Now, if you think that you can juggle all of those things together, that's where the fallacy comes in, because it is impossible, okay? So even when your overall gains are actually hampered by multitasking, people still think they're productive. And that's it's such an obvious illusion, but I'll explain to you why we keep doing it. So first, I want to talk about a couple common myths. So first, people think that they have a sense of accomplishment, so you must be getting a lot done. That's not true. Just because you have a sense of accomplishment doesn't mean you're actually accomplishing things that are moving you towards your objective or your goal. Even if you are getting some stuff done, is it really moving you forward? Number 2, you save energy by switching between tasks so you don't get too burnt out on one. That is also a myth. You're not actually saving energy by switching between tasks. And number 3, you get, quote, better at multitasking like any other skill the more you do it. You cannot do the multitasking, okay? You're not going to get better at it. It's like saying you're a good drunk driver. No, that is just absurd. You're not better at multitasking. That's what the science says. So why do we do it, or why do students do it specifically? But teachers, regular people, why do they do it? Well, the research says that, especially now with Gen Z, that their time span for attention is about 8 seconds, which is not even an Instagram short story, okay? Which is like 15 seconds, I think, before it cuts. So they can't even watch a simple story before they get distracted and start thinking about something else, and that's multitasking. They're bored. You can see it in your class easily all the time, where people start putting their heads down, getting into their phone because they're bored in class, which is why I think a lot of other stuff I've talked about before, why it's so important to have an engaging classroom so that students don't do this. And their brains, and this is definitely my thing, the brain enjoys little dopamine hits. When you get the little things done, or you feel like you're juggling things okay, you get little hits of dopamine, and it feels great, even though it's really not making you more productive. So are we addicted to multitasking? Well, the evidence is a little inconclusive, but it's possible. There's a study that I found that says we were amazed, we being the researchers, at how frequently the students multitasked, even though they knew someone was watching. Right? You see that in class if you're a teacher, and if you're a student, you don't even care if the teacher sees you. You're just like, hey man, I'm just looking at my phone. So it really seems that they could not go for more than 15 minutes without engaging their devices, which is pretty scary. And I was really paying attention to this because when I'm at work, I take my cell phone, I turn it upside down, put it on like my pad, and it'll be hours before I even look at it to respond to Megan. And I know students do not do that. And I watch students who have their phone in their pockets, even in their scrubs, and they're kind of touching the phone. It's probably subconscious, but the other day I saw a student that was just like fiddling with the phone in the pocket with this obsession that we have with our devices, specifically distracting us and making us multitask. So why is this the productivity killer? Well, if distractions are determinant to our productivity, multitasking is distractions on steroids. So now we got a ton. So we have to stay focused and give information the attention it deserves if we want to learn it. And this multitasking business is just not only is a productivity killer, because you really don't get to move forward in efficient timing, but it is literally the learning killer. This is where you're like, oh, I don't even remember what happened in class. Yeah, you forgot all this stuff because you couldn't pay attention because you were multitasking. So, like I was saying earlier, the biggest tool of distraction is the cell phone. Cell phones are distracting, pulling our attention away from our current tasks and activities. And this is talking about here that even if the cell phone is around, it's distracting people. Let's say it's on the desk and people are like looking at it. And I honestly, when I was mindful about that, I could feel it. That pull if it's in my pocket when I'm walking around the classroom. So I try my best to keep my cell phone out of my pocket and not be utilizing that phone. Now, I know that it does there is a little bit of, you could even say irony and hypocrisy as we move towards the digital age. And heck, I'm even in digital. Like, I'm on the internet. I have things that you look at on your phone. So it's not like we can be purists and completely get rid of our phone. But we do have to understand that maybe within the phone, setting settings and standards for what we're going to allow to disrupt us or disturb us. I love my do not disturb setting and things like that, so that we can still utilize what I still believe is an incredible piece of technology, but it has to be used in the right way. So how do students use multitasking? How does this end up appearing in the classroom? Well, this is why you're not going to be perfect, but you have to reduce it. They're spending up to 20% of their classroom time texting, emailing, surfing the web, or checking social media, and even playing games. I'm seeing students do Candy Crush sometimes. I mean, for the most part, people are pretty engaged in my class, but every now and then it's like they get that out, or they look at that Instagram real quick when we're doing some stuff where it's like, even when it's engaged and people are moving around, they can't help but look at their phone. And so if 20% of your time is spent on the device or even on your computer, that's a lot of time that you're giving up to not even paying any attention to classwork. And up to 96.2% of students engage in some sort of media multitasking while studying or working on assignments. Might as well just say everybody does it. Everybody does it. So that's multitasking and reducing your attention, thus reducing the overall productivity and quality of your work and learning. So this hinders success because it weakens a student's grasp on the information. Attention is not something we specifically talked about in this series, but giving things attention is what your brain needs to continue to consolidate that information into the long-term memory. So if we're not giving it attention, it's not going to get there. It also reduces the memory of the task performed. So if you did do something, your forgetting curve is going to happen a lot faster. The brain actually, unlike whether people feel they're more productive, the brain actually fatigues faster. Our brains have not evolved to multitask. Our brains evolved to be highly focused on the job at hand. Humans aren't even good at thinking about the future, let alone multitasking a bunch of things potentially about the future in the present. Humans are a now species with our brain. This also causes the main task to take longer. That's the thing. If you could focus, if it really took 2 hours worth of focus work to get something done, but you're doing other things, it ends up becoming 5 hours, 6 hours. And in the end, you end up taking longer, and you weren't as productive by actually learning the stuff. And I guarantee retention will be poor. So of course, overall, this hurts a student's performance. Simply put, if you're thinking, well, he hasn't said anything to me about why I actually want to quit using my phone, I'll tell you right now, it's going to affect your grades. It's going to affect your performance, 100%. So what's the call to action? Well, ditch the phone if you can. Like I said, there's a little irony to this video because we're talking so much about the phone and technology. But even if you're not ditching the phone completely, utilize your do not disturb mode. But you can put your phone in another room, disable your notifications. That's a big one I use, and program automatic responses so that people know, hey, I'm studying right now. I'll get back to you as soon as I'm done. And even because the phone is so important, I actually have a method of studying information that breaks it up into small chunks, because the reality is, if people can't go more than 20 minutes without looking at their phone, or 15 minutes, then why not set up our studying system that way? I mean, we're not like a drug rehab type of thing here where we're trying to get people to, come clean on their cell phone addictions. But we can at least say, hey, every 15 minutes, every 20 minutes, you have to take a break. And if it's going to get that phone, we'll go get that phone then, and then come back in 5 minutes. But that's another technique that you can get if you're a member of the Instructor Brooks campus, where I have lessons and I have broken them down into you so you have plenty of cell phone study time in the break times that I give you. But by doing all of this to focus on a single task, we are now, instead of multitasking, single tasking. And that person is dedicating themselves to the given task. So they're going to be focused, they're going to be efficient, they're going to be productive, and honestly, they're going to master the material much faster than someone who's multitasking. That's just the science. That's just the fact. So remember, if you like what you heard here and you want in on more of my specific strategies and how I'm incorporating into lessons for physical therapy assistant students, then you want to become a member of the Instructor Brooks YouTube channel. On YouTube, you can go to www.instructorbrooks.com, click on the join button. It'll take you to the same page, or just go to my YouTube page at Instructor Brooks on YouTube and click the membership button. There you go. Become a member. Let's crush PTA school. Let's stop these fallacies and let's have fun. Catch you in the next video.